Wait a minute, so. So this switch is. Yeah, no, that's perfect. We should have done that anyway. We're gonna get three planes. Instead of the driver, probably best. Can I get a replace that? Yeah. Very nice. That's there. Should we get time?
No.
How's everybody doing? I'm surprised to say that. It's a good break. Say your whole family. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I immediately interviewed. I had a bathing chair and like for some reason, growling. Today it's whenever you're wouldn't lock that, we need a bell.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Really appreciate everybody taking their time to be here today as we conduct our business. We have move on to a moment of silence, and I'm going to ask Bill if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next on our agenda, if we have anyone from the public that would sign up for a public comment, I think we do, but move on to our next. Move on to recognitions. Stop us. Yeah.
Good morning. I'll see here. Today, I have the privilege of presenting the Ambassador Award to Mr. Paul Chapin.
Paul, stand up, would you?
Paul's actions perfectly embody HARDA's mission of connecting communities and empowering lives. This award recognizes those moments when our team members demonstrate how transportation isn't just about moving people from point A to point B. It's about compassionate service and personal commitment. Recently, two of our caravan clients from Parkwood Assisted Living were enjoying an afternoon at Hamilton Place Mall. As the day wore on, our dispatch team became concerned because they hadn't heard from the ladies who were known to sometimes experience confusion. This concern was compounded because the ladies no longer had access to a phone at that time. This is where Paul's story of exceptional service begins. When our dispatch team couldn't establish contact and learned that Parkwood had no way to reach the clients, Paul, who was serving as our callback driver that day, didn't hesitate. Without being asked, he took the initiative to help entering the mall to search for our customers. He found the two ladies who had become tired and disoriented, and with patience and compassion assisted them back to the van. In this moment, Paul wasn't just providing transportation. He was protecting our clients' independence and dignity while ensuring their safety. Paul's action resonated beyond just that afternoon. The administrator of Parkwood was so moved by his dedication, they requested to meet Paul personally to express their gratitude. This is exactly why the Ambassador Award, or what it represents. The moment when our training, our values, and our commitment to the community align perfectly in service to others. Paul, your quick initiative and compassion represent the best of HARDA. You've shown us that being an ambassador isn't just about following protocols, It's about seeing a need and taking action to help others. Thank you for being an outstanding example of what it means to serve our community. Please come up and receive the CARTA Ambassador Award.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. We'll make it to the senator. Oh, yeah. Very good. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
And also online, I'd like to recognize the board chair, Johan, and Daniela, board members are all joining us virtually. And just wanted to recognize that. If the chair, of course, if you have any comments you'd like to make, you feel free to make them at any time.
Thank you, Evan. Good morning, everybody. I'm not sure if you can see me, but hopefully not. I can see everybody. I see a lot of handsome people in the room, and I also see Corey. But thank you for standing in for me on the meeting, chairing the meeting this morning, and I look forward to participating. I'm in New York.
Thanks, Johan. Next on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes. I know board members, you had those out ahead of time. If y'all don't have any questions or changes to it, then if I could have a motion, a second to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we'll go to the CEO report. Turn it over to you, Charles.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Vice Chairman, all of the members of the board, and I'm just taking a minute to make some eye contact with everybody. I don't always pause and actually wait down the table to see everybody. I don't like to set up here very much. But good morning also to our guests and the public and my CARTA colleagues. Just wanted to say that I'm really excited about today's update, in particular because I have officially made my 1-year anniversary at CARTA effective last Friday. So I'm particularly excited to give you some updates. I think we've had a lot of good news over the last year, but that continues today. So I want to start with an update on the incline railway recovery. Our staff, both at the incline and here in our offices, are working really at full speed to bring the service back. And as I reported last month, we have completed our initial inventory needs. That's listed on the slide here. That includes over 1,100 feet of rail that must be replaced, over 200 rail ties and the associated rail timber. And as we talked about last month, over 5,000 feet of that very heavy duty 1.5 inch cable. That cable has a 12-week delivery lead time. Similarly, and you'll see today on the procurement report, we have done a second emergency order for the rail ties and the associated guard timber. The turnaround time for that is 50 to 60 days as well. And so it was important that we got that order placed. And while we're working very closely with the insurance and safety teams, we are simultaneously addressing the fire cleanup and reconstruction planning. The overall draft schedule is coming together, and I'm going to share that with you now. On the bottom of this screen, and also board members, we have the handout for you. You've got the presentation if it's easier for you to see. But the draft schedule is coming together, and this is, I want to be clear, this is not the final schedule. We still have some tweaks that we're making. But mobilization of our vendor, Railworks, who will actually do the construction of the timbers and the rail, that will begin. Mobilization, getting equipment, will begin next week. And then demolition and removal of the burnt ties and the warped rail will start at the end of January, and that'll take about 30 days. From there, and depending on the delivery of the timber, track reconstruction should begin in March, and that will extend through April in full to the beginning of May. And then finally, once that rail reconstruction is done, we'll do the cable reinstallation as that final piece. So we are targeting June 2nd as the reopening date, and that, of course, is subject to any unforeseen changes. And still outstanding are some engineering concepts for a dry pipe system that would run along the rail line. This would help us fight fire in the future should there be a need to do so. So we haven't nailed that down completely. And then also replacement of other parts of the rail system as part of our routine maintenance. We will make that determination in the next 3 weeks when we do our formal inspection. So that all of that's coming, and I'll be able to report that to you next month. And then finally, in this section, it's not reflected in this month's financial report, but it will be in next month's financial report. We have received the first $500,000 advance from our insurance company. So that's to cover the expense of the cable, the timber, and then lost revenue to help us mitigate any cash flow concerns. So a little different than I've done in my prior CEO reports. I'm going to pause here before I go to my next topic and just give the board the opportunity to ask any clarifying questions from this section. Okay, moving on. And as I begin my second year here at CARTA, the board will remember that we've already identified in the first year our strategic imperatives and the 24 focus areas for this last year. If you don't have that document, I'll make sure that you do have the most recent version of that. But literally, we are working through those 24 focus areas. It's a list. And we are now embarking on the comprehensive fixed route improvement strategy. And so we've got an image here, and I'll just walk you through this quickly. But at the end of all of these items, this work will improve service for our riders by increasing on-time performance, like the real quality of the service that we have on the road. So allow me to provide you with a high-level overview first, and then I'm going to drill down on 2 of the items that are already underway in this section. So first, a little bit more of the technical aspects of our work includes bus stop optimization, scheduling improvements, fixing our intelligent transportation system, that's the real-time location system of the vehicles, and creating the standard operating procedures to manage all of those things moving forward. Those things are underway, and in the next slide, I'm going to give you an update on that. But to give you just the playing field first, the next thing you want to be aware of are establishing service standards and performance metrics for the system. And these are policy documents that we will bring to this board for approval. And this really will become CARTA's commitment to this community on what we're going to provide in terms of service based on our available budget. So this is our agreement with the community. This is the minimum standard that we will provide, and these are the performance metrics that they can expect of us moving forward. And then concurrently, the 3 additional arrows here, and on the very near horizon that will happen in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll be engaging with our riders and our operators in ways that we have not done previously. Externally, we will be establishing a baseline satisfaction survey of our customers. And so I just want to take a moment here. So this is focusing on fixed routes. So we will have a fixed route survey, but that we will also be doing this for all of our services. So this will be Caravan, Car2Go, Incline, and parking as well. And secondly, we will also be establishing a rider advisory committee, which Director Evatt has indicated that he would be willing to chair. So both of these efforts will be in place later this spring. And then concurrently with this effort, internally, we're going to be establishing a bus operator focus group and conducting an employee satisfaction survey to gauge the satisfaction of our employees as well. So all of these things will be taking place in the next few months, and they all are part of our strategic imperatives that the board has seen. And then finally, in this section, all of this work will help us produce a comprehensive operational analysis package. That will be near-term transit plans, what we want to do in the next 1 to 2 years, and then a longer-term look, the 3 to 5 year strategic plan as it relates to service expansion. So that's the highest level of this project, and then I just want to drill down on two items, and then I'll pause for questions. So start with bus stop optimization. We've already started this process and taken two crucial steps. First, we have fully documented for the first time all 900 plus bus stops that are in our system, and these weren't previously completely inventoried before. And a big thank you to our planning team that has literally been out in the field geocoding and getting these exact locations for us and taking that inventory. Next, and pictured here, you're going to see that we have started gathering direct feedback from our operators, which is a really critical step. And we haven't invested the time that we need to with our frontline staff for this type of work. But this, you can see, had an opportunity to spend time with operators and literally get their feedback on everything bus stops, what the spacing of bus stops, the safety of bus stops. Is there enough lighting? Is there a safe place for people to board and alight? The use or lack of use of the bus stops in the network. And all of this data will be gathered and presented not only to this board, but to the public as we begin to formulate a recommendation on optimal bus stop locations. And so this will include removing bus stops, moving bus stops, and adding bus stops. So we're going to be very transparent about all of this work, but the preliminary steps are already underway. And then similarly, I don't expect you to be able to see this, but let me orient you because the only thing that really matters are the colors. Part of this work is really looking at our schedules and analyzing those in a critical way outside of the software system. So this is it's a very complex Excel spreadsheet, but let me orient you first. So there's 3 routes that are identified here. It happens to be Route 1, Route 4, Route 21. On the far left-hand side are the time points where we make determination about what time the bus should be there. And then across the columns are all of the bus trips that take place throughout the day. The colors give us an indication of what our riders are experiencing on the street. Green is good, it was on time. Red is not great because it was running late, and that's not great for anybody. And blue, in my opinion, is worse because we left before the scheduled time said so. And so somebody might have come and the bus was already gone. The point of this work is we will have a data-driven approach to redesigning the schedules and allocating enough time throughout the day to mitigate traffic, school zones, and all of those things that impact our service. So again, we haven't done this historically before, but this work is underway. It will come to the board in the form of a recommendation to make service scheduling changes. So I will pause here and give the board an opportunity to question or react to the overall project and then these 2 particular initiatives. So any questions from the board?
Comment.
Yes, ma'am.
On the service scheduling changes, I think what I heard is that you're getting input internally from the bus drivers, you're getting input externally from the riders. Are we also folding in any feedback that you've been getting from those windshield tours from the council members as well? To get some specifics around different communities and their needs. So let me stop right there on that first.
The answer is yes, kind of. The 2 are related. So for scheduling specifically, we're getting input from operators. Is there enough running time to stay on time? From riders, what we will be getting is, what do you need from this route? Does it need to come more frequently? Does it need to run later at night? From the council members and elected officials, as we're driving around, we're looking a little bit more at the routes themselves. Is this route serving the right parts of the community? But at the end of the day, we want input on all aspects of the system. So the answer is the feedback that we're getting from the elected officials for the windshield tours are important, and that will be incorporated into our overall recommendations.
Perfect. And then the next piece is, and I know from what I understand, Corey will be supporting some of this with the committee, but I want to make sure as we reduce or make changes to routes, that we ensure that either they have other options or we make sure that that was a route that either wasn't producing enough ridership, et cetera. I don't want people to feel like things are just being taken away and they may not still have access or get to the places that they're trying to get to, if that makes sense to both of you all.
Absolutely. And so the goal, and Director Evan and I have had some conversations about this already, but it's a conversation for the board. Our public participation process historically has not been sufficient. And so when we stand up the Ridership Advisory Committee, we've already talked about, we're not going to establish a meeting that's on the second Wednesday at 10 o'clock at this location. We're going to identify places in the community and then partner with both the elected officials, neighborhood resource groups, and determine what is the best time that's convenient for this community to convene so that we can get their feedback when we can. So we want to meet them where they are at the time that's convenient for them. So this might be a Sunday afternoon meeting. It might be an early Monday night evening, whatever it is. The point is that this board can expect a robust amount of outreach and conversation with the community that we're serving.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's all
ma'am.
I had.
Gotcha.
For efforts.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I'll move on. Okay.
Councilman, just a comment from my side, if I may.
Yes.
I really would like to congratulate you. We're ratcheting up the level of professionalism that has been, I think, brought to Carter under your leadership. And really kudos to you and the team for making this progress. It really is a fantastic start to the new year. And I commend you for it. And I look forward to seeing the positive impact coming from this sort of very systematic, data-driven approach. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just for the board, and for that comment, I'd just like to react real quickly. I think we should prepare ourselves when we take that first customer satisfaction survey and the first employee satisfaction survey. We're going to be getting a baseline of how people feel about the work that we're doing in this community. And I think we need to brace ourselves for some harsh realities about how we provide service. But I think that, to the chairman's point, we should know where we stand so that we can establish an improvement strategy. So I'm not afraid to find out what everybody's really thinking. We need to know. And then we'll chart our course forward. So thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. If no other questions, I'll move on to the next thing. I'm excited to share an update about our new pilot program with the Launchpad. And you may recall last month that I introduced you to the Launchpad, which is a sober living home for women in recovery. And I shared last month pictures with you of our transit tour with their board of directors, where we took them through on our routes and showed them job opportunities for their residents. And as a reminder, a pilot program similar to Read and Ride, we are providing residents of the Launchpad with access to our fixed route system on a month-to-month basis for 1 year in total. Here in these pictures, you can see our community outreach team. So Savannah was there, Veronica was there, Scott was there, I think Brandon was there as well. And what we're doing here is we're conducting an on-site presentation about Carta services, and we provided detailed guidance on how to navigate the system, how to read the schedule, how to use the transit app that we do have, how to understand the timing of transfers. And so this partnership aims to support these women in reclaiming their lives and ensuring reliable transportation to work and important appointments as part of their time at the Launchpad. So we'll continue to provide travel training throughout the year, and we'll give you updates on ridership and employment outcomes throughout this year as well. So allow me to pause here before I go on, and any opportunity for questions or comments from the board.
Are we also gathering kind of some input and feedback in those training processes as well? Like what a new rider may feel or experience, if there's any intimidation or learning curve? Are we getting some of that info?
Yeah, so the answer is absolutely yes. So we really want to hear firsthand from the riders what they're experiencing. It's so critical that their transportation is reliable for work and job. There is an opportunity that we've talked about. We haven't solidified what will happen, but what we're really looking for are some super users from the launch pad, people that will rely on public transit. And those are the folks that we would even consider maybe some part-time job opportunities to actually be travel trainers for CARTA. And so there may be an employment opportunity there as well. And I just think that when you have people that are using the system, eyes on it, what's the situation with the stops? Was I able to get to work on time? Was I not able to get a job because the route doesn't go there or it doesn't start early enough? So yes, we will be intentionally gathering data from these riders.
That's awesome.
Okay, if no other questions, I'll move on. Board members, you'll recall in my initial SWOT analysis last April, one of the opportunities that we identified was the potential development of the 3-acre parcel at the base of the incline railway. And so you'll also recall some of our more recent discussions with CNE, the Chattanooga Neighborhood Enterprise, and other local entities where conceptual drawings, like the one here on the right, have been developed to demonstrate the possibility of affordable housing on this property that we own. And so I'm very pleased to announce a significant step forward. And in partnership with the city of Chattanooga, CARTA will be initiating a formal feasibility study. Can this location house affordable housing? The study will evaluate the feasibility of a potential development incorporating not only housing, but transit, parking, and retail space. And the study will help inform us of any infrastructure requirements, zoning constraints, potential construction costs, and a determination on whether a full-blown traffic study would be required because it's a little bit of a congested area. And we will select one of our on-call consultants to begin this work this next month. And so the goal is to have the deliverables from this study available to inform our fiscal year 26 budget process. So it's going to be a very quick turnaround, but wanted to give you this introduction today and happy to answer any questions about this particular topic before I go on. Okay, moving on. Facility improvements. And Mr. Chairman, if you were here, you might hear in the background, we've got pressure washing and sanding going on outside the boardroom here. I'm happy to report that we will soon begin. We are underway already, improving the CARTA bus barn, all of these outside facilities, including painting the barn and areas around our headquarters. And while this might seem like a small detail, we really believe that presenting a better face to our community will reflect our commitment to excellence in all aspects of our operations. So looking forward to getting our new logo, which you can see when you go over the Wilcox Bridge. All of that will be cleaned up as well. So board members, Mr. Vice Chairman, Mr. Chair, thank you for your attention. Thank you for the questions, the interaction. This concludes my CEO report for this month, and I'm happy to take any other questions you might have.
Does anyone have any questions? Just want to thank you again for a great report, and I totally missed it's been a year. Like, it doesn't feel like it's been a year already, but we're certainly enjoyed having you here and look forward to continuing.
Yeah, I love being here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, next on the agenda is our consent agenda that was sent out electronically, the financial, statistical, and operational reports. I'm not sure if you all had a chance to look at it, but if you have any questions or comments before we move on. If not, we will accept this information. I just want to thank Sonia, Philip, and Jeff for putting that over. Oh, yeah, we need a motion to approve this information, receiving those reports. If I get a motion in second.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Richard. Next up on the agenda is the Catoosa County subrecipient agreement, called Annie.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll start with our Catoosa County subrecipient agreement. So staff is recommending that the board authorize the chief executive officer to negotiate a subrecipient agreement between CARTA, Catoosa County for the provision of public transportation services within Catoosa County, Georgia. I'm gonna go through my memo, which is in your packet on page 27, and I'll touch on highlights from the draft agreement that we have on page 28. So this action aligns with CARTA's strategic imperatives of connecting communities and empowering lives, building value as a community partner, and of increasing grant awards and maintaining compliance with state and federal governments. When CARTA was first formed in 1973, it was authorized to provide transit service in Catoosa, Dade, and Walker counties in Georgia. Over time, those governments ceased participating in CARTA. CARTA is not currently providing service within Georgia as the tort liability maximum is greater in Georgia than Tennessee. Sorry, I lost my place. CARTA does not have dual vehicle tax for both Tennessee and Georgia. And Catoosa County has not joined CARTA in accordance with CARTA's bylaws or chosen to contract with CARTA for transit service. Approximately 30 years ago, Catoosa County began providing rural transit service using Federal Transit Administration, Section 5311, which are formula grants for rural areas within our urbanized area. During the most recent census, Catoosa County was determined to be an urbanized rather than rural operator and was no longer eligible for Section 5311 funds. Since CARTA, as the designated recipient for our urbanized area, receives Section 5307, which are the urbanized area formula funds for Georgia populations, Catoosa County Transit is eligible for these funds. In coordination with Melissa and the Chattanooga Hamilton County North Georgia Metropolitan Planning Organization, CARTA will receive $5.5 million in federal highway funds from the Georgia Department of Transportation that will be transferred to FTA's Section 5307 program for use within Catoosa County, Georgia. Catoosa County will provide the required local match of about $3.7 million. CARTA will administer the transfer of funds to Catoosa County and conduct oversight over the use of funds as outlined in CARTA's program management plan. Transfer of these funds will allow CARTA to fund Catoosa County's transit service for a period of time without causing a reduction in CARTA's operations that are currently funded with the entire amount of our yearly allocation of Section 5307 formula. At this time, I'm going to go to the draft agreement. So to ensure the continuation of public transit services within Catoosa County, staff is recommending a subrecipient agreement for Catoosa County Transit from July 1st of 2024 through June 30th of 2026, with yearly options to extend thereafter until funds are expended. These funds will be used for transit operations and capital investments within Catoosa County. CARTA will be responsible for reviewing various areas of Catoosa County service, including financial management, procurement, drug and alcohol testing, charter service, civil rights, Buy America, lobbying, charter, use of disbanded business enterprises, etc. CARTA will not be liable for any damages related to use of the funds, and Catoosa will indemnify CARTA against claims unless caused by CARTA's gross negligence. The agreement may be terminated for convenience or default, subject to specific conditions. So that's the end of my report, but in summary, CART staff is recommending that the board authorize the CEO to negotiate a subrecipient agreement between CARTA and Catoosa County. If there's any questions, I'm available.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
What does oversight look like from a staffing standpoint?
It would, I think that we were estimating about 40 hours of staff time to complete that.
I can give a little more flavor to that. Federal grant dollars come with strings, and those strings are often compliance related issues. So similar to CARTA, Catoosa County will need to meet all of the requirements, the strings of the grant dollars. They will need to have a equal employment opportunity program. They will need to have a Title VI program. They will need to properly maintain their vehicles. Our job in the oversight role is to make sure that those things are happening. And we'll do that through recurring inspections of their vehicle maintenance records, recurring inspections of their equal employment opportunity program, recurring inspections. So our job is oversight. We'll go down and check the files, very much like FTA comes in and they check our files and they look at our inspection records. So we'll be playing that role.
Now, have we identified what that frequency will look like? Is it twice a year? Is it quarterly? Did we get any guidance from Rachel or?
I would say, and I have some experience in this area, we are likely, so two things. we want to have a robust and proactive and good relationship with Catoosa County. We'll start with, we've already been invited down. We'll take the management team down to meet with their representatives, the county manager, county CFO, their transit director, and we'll go on a tour of their system and learn about the services that they've been providing. So we'll have a kickoff. And then I would anticipate that we're going down at least quarterly for a check-in to see records and ask for things. So I would say quarterly would be an initial stab.
Just one of the,
Oh, go ahead.
just one other quick comment, because we haven't did that initial understanding of like baseline, I'm trying to make sure y'all allowed enough time so that y'all can understand any areas for improvement, any gaps in service, et cetera, so that we can kind of front load from there, what time really needs to be spent initially. And then from there, I think we can kind of come up with whatever frequency, but I just want to make sure as we initially look at their operations, that we spend enough time to understand, you know, their current status and any, I don't know, education or maybe some best practices or whatever to put in place so that we're doing that early on. I just want to make that as a comment.
Yes, ma'am, and if I could, I'll say yes to that for sure. One other strategy we're going to employ is the board, thank you very much, last month approved for the first time for CARTA, several on-call planning contracts. One of those vendors, CDM Smith, specializes in subrecipient oversight. And so what we actually will do in addition to the staff is we'll open up a task order for CDM Smith to help us with almost like an inspection checklist
Yeah.
to go in. And so as the first pass, we'll go down with our checklist. We probably would have a representative from CDM Smith to go with us as the expert. And let's onboard properly, and then we would follow up with that quarter. So what we could do, Secretary Reeves, is bring that initial report, that initial checklist back to the board as an informational item. So when this goes into play, you all would have eyesight on it, if that would be helpful.
I would appreciate that, because I just don't feel like we understand exactly what we're walking into, so I want to make sure that we're allocating enough time based on whatever baseline we find there, and then make sure that we're truly being helpful, and then also doing our oversight role for them.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all I have. Thank you.
And just for clarification, I would assume they're, due to their size, this is probably just a on-demand small full service.
It is.
Does anyone have any other questions? If not, we'll like to have a motion for the recommendation that we allow Charles to negotiate on behalf of CARTA and enter into an agreement with Catoosa County.
Most trooper.
Second.
There's no discussion, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On next to procurement. And
I would just like to record, if I may, technically, since I'm participating remotely, I'm precluded from voting, but anecdotally, I also would like to voice my support for the proposal. Thank you very much.
thank you, Chairman.
All right, so I'll be providing an update for the January procurement report. This month, I'm bringing reports for sections 1, 2, and 4, which is approval of contracts over 50,000, board approval of the use of the request for proposals process, and report on emergency procurements. We're still working to update our policy, which will come to the board at a later date. Included in your packet on, sorry, I didn't put the page, so I'm not sure what page. Thank you very much. Is the procurement. We're looking for approval of new procurements for incline marketing services and incline concessions and ticket sales. I've also included a request for approval for the use of the request for proposals process for 5 upcoming procurements and a report on CARTA's recent emergency purchase for the incline railway timbers that were damaged during the recent fire. So this month, staff are requesting approval for the selection of a firm for incline marketing services and an extension of CARTA's existing contract with Sea Rock City for incline concessions and ticket sales. The procurement for incline marketing was completed through a request for proposals process and is for a one-year agreement with 4 one-year options. Marketing services include administration of an annual marketing plan for the incline railway, provision of creative design services, digital media, and publicity for promoting attendance, as well as updates and maintenance of the incline railway website and management of the social media calendar. The request for proposals was released on October 7th, and 3 proposals were received. CARTA advertises procurement in the Chattanooga Times Free Press, included a notice and link to the RFP on CARTA's website, and sent the RFP to 7 interested proposers. Proposals were evaluated with the following criteria. First, relevant overall experience and expertise of the firm, 25 points. Second, diversity of services offered by the proposed firm, 15 points. Third, documented specialized expertise in transit or incline railway related services, 10 points. And fourth, price proposal, 25 points. Upon approval, CARTA will enter into a one-year agreement with 4 one-year options with Partnership Marketing Group for a yearly retainer of $24,000. An overall marketing budget for the incline will be determined for issuance of a purchase order and include such items as digital ads, social media services, billboards, entertainment, video and ads, printing, art and design, website maintenance, etc. The average incline marketing budget has historically been approximately $180,000 and includes the yearly retainer fee of Partnership Marketing Group. Partnership Marketing Group will be responsible for keeping expenditures within the authorized budget for the year. CARTA will utilize operating funds for this procurement. While a DBE bill is not explicitly required for this procurement, Partnership Marketing Group often utilizes a certified DBE for graphic design. Estimated budget is dependent on graphic design services required, but is estimated at approximately 3% of the contract amount and will be tracked for reporting purposes. This month, staff is also requesting approval for a one-year extension from the 5 one-year options associated with the current incline concessions and ticket sales contract that was awarded to Xerox City. CARTA entered into a contract with Xerox City on March 1st of 2020 for 5 years with options for 5 one-year extensions. This contract is currently due to expire at the end of February, and Xerox City has formally requested a one-year extension for this contract at currently established payment terms. Upon approval, CARTA will enter into an agreement with Xerox City for a one-year term. Revenues to CARTA associated with concessions are guaranteed for $200,000 per year, with variable revenue consisting of 10% of the amount of Xerox City's gross receipts for the 12-month period that exceeds the sum of $700,000. For ticket sales, CARTA will continue to make a fixed payment of 9% of total net monthly admission sales for the incline rail. CARTA will utilize operating funds for the ticket sales portion of this agreement. Staff is also requesting the approval for the following procurements to utilize the request for proposals process. The current scope of work for these procurements requires that evaluation criteria other than price be considered when awarding contracts for these services. The procurements are as follows: actuary services, HVAC maintenance services, pest control services, shelter cleaning services, purchase of replacement elevator for shuttle cars. And finally, I'm also providing a report on an emergency procurement for January. During the week after the fire at the incline railway, CARTA's third-party engineer surveyed the damage and identified timbers that required replacement and assisted CARTA in reaching out to known suppliers. Due to the long lead times and urgent requirement for the timber, this procurement was processed as an emergency procurement. A purchase order is provided to Bio Forest Products on January 8th in the amount of $74,467. The lead time for delivery of the timber is approximately 45 to 60 days. CARTA will utilize insurance proceeds or emergency relief funds if eligible for this procurement. To summarize all of that, staff is recommending the board approve all requests related to procurement outlined in my memo. This concludes my report, but I'm available for questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Who, in addition to Partnership Marketing Group, participated? You said there were 3. Who were the other 2?
Xerox City and then 22nd Century Technology, something.
Where are they located?
I think they are located in like Middle Tennessee, but I'd have to look it up.
The Partnership Marketing Group, where are they located?
They're in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I think they have their consultants have a local presence.
Is that Robert Pedway? Okay. That's fine. Thanks. answer my questions. Appreciate it. Good job, Anna.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. I know this was a lot to put together, and thank you for your effort.
Yeah, and I want to say too, thank you for bringing this to committee and
Yeah.
answering a lot of questions then as well, because this is a lot to digest, but I appreciate the work on that.
A lot to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With that, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
yeah. Make motion, we approve.
Bill motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
I support, well,
If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, it carries. Thank you again so much for the reports. Yeah. Moving on, do we have any new business? Do we have any new business?
We got enough.
There's lots of business. Now to the fun part. Charles, turn it over to you for.
Yeah, it's my
Partnership.
pleasure, board members. I had alluded to this in one of my reports, I think in November. That we had been in conversation with Signal Centers and the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. Talking about potential partnership, and I'm happy to let you know that that partnership has come to fruition. And in just a minute, I'm going to introduce our guest today, but we are also today going to reveal a specially wrapped bus. I'm showing you the picture here on the screen. I believe that this is the only public transit bus in the country that has Dolly Parton's image on it. So it's a first for Dolly Parton, it's a first for CARTA. But this is such an important project and a partnership, and I don't want to steal thunder from the team. Allow me to introduce, sorry, I'm going to introduce just a second. The bus will be coming up here shortly. So after the bus is here, after the meeting, we'd like to invite all of you to come downstairs after we adjourn. And take some pictures. It's a photo op opportunity. The bus will officially hit the road tomorrow after a brief stop with Signal Centers. But allow me to introduce Donna McConico to spend a few minutes with the board. I'm going to bring the clicker down here for you.
Chris is gonna run the clicker for me.
Yeah.
The cute clicker.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to say thank you so much for the partnership that we're going to experience here. This is great. But I have to give you a little history too. I want to tell you a little bit about Signal Centers as well. And we have guests with us today. We have two staff members. Taylor Bostwick is the Chief Marketing Officer. Krista Manarino is our Chief Development Officer. And also with us is Lee Hope, who is the Chair of the Imagination Library Committee, the Advisory Committee. And also she's the Head of Children and Youth Services at the Chattanooga Public Library. So we are very fortunate. She's been the kind of the spark for us in reaching out to the community to enroll folks. When we took over the library and well, I won't talk about that first. We'll talk about Signal Centers for a minute. But first, I want to say I've been working and experiencing the joy of CARTA services for 23 years as the executive director at Signal Centers. I've been on the travel training in I think it was 2001 that we had you come and share with our staff how to help folks navigate services. And we were given training, and then we were given a location to go to, and groups of us actually did that. It was an amazing experience that I had not had before. But you provide services that not only are essential to connecting to all the social services in town, but all the other kinds of services. I mean, transportation is such a key factor just in the basic needs of people, but it's also about quality of life. And you have done that as a partner with Signal Centers. If you don't know Signal, you know that our mission is up there on the board, but we basically serve folks who have disabilities and their families. And we also promote early childhood education. And then our last piece is self-sufficiency. We're hoping to help people gain a quality of life through being able to control their own destiny. You have provided transportation for our staff. Some of you may know Tracy Woods. He recently retired after 23 years at Signal, and he came to his job on CARTA Caravan every morning and was picked up every afternoon there. You also have provided travel training to all of our staff that work in the disability services. And we also have been providing with you navigation services for individuals in the community who have a disability. And we've been partners with you with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library as well. And Charles actually joined our committee and it has CARTA representation at that all the time. So So, we have, when I started, we had about 70 staff. And we had 3 local programs, and we now have 11 programs, 12 programs, I'm sorry. And 9 of those are local. And 3 of those are across the state. And we've been partners in all those programs. When we select a site to provide services, we're right now looking at moving, we just merged with Speech and Hearing Center. And we're looking at a new location. We're always looking, are we on the bus line? Because that is where folks who might not have independent transportation are able to get to us really. So we're really happy with that. So Dolly Parton Imagination Library, in the year 2000, there were a few things going on in our community, and the previous provider of the previous partner decided they were no longer going to be the partner, and Chattanooga and Hamilton County was in danger of becoming the only county in the state of Tennessee that did not provide Imagination Library books to the children in our community. And I was on the board of that organization. I was like, no, we've got to do this. I was trying to hawk it all around town. And finally I went to my board and said, yes, in the middle of the pandemic, January of 2021, we're going to commit to raising the funds and to enrolling the participants. And we took this over in January 1 of 2021, and it has been a delight. Our community is so philanthropic, and all of the partners that have come together to try to make sure every child in Chattanooga has a free book from birth to age 5. It's not dependent on your zip code. It's not dependent on your income. You just have to click on that QR code and enroll your child or grandchild. If you, and we want to be sure everybody has this. And it is free to the families to receive. It is not free to take care of. So one of the things that we have to do is raise the money for it. Everybody thinks Dolly pays for it. She does an amazing job in getting the price incredibly low and providing for the management of the delivery system and the mailing the books. But locally, we have to raise about $200,000 a year, which is matched by the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation to cover the costs. And I'm pleased to say that we took it over. There was around 11,000 kids every month getting a book, and we're now over 14,000. And what you need to know about that's very impressive from our team, and especially the advisory board, is that about 300 kids roll off every month. So to stay neutral, we have to enroll 300 every month, because when they hit their 5th birthday, they're done. And so it's always a challenge, and we're excited. Nicole Watson is the chair of our fundraising committee, and we have been fortunate to have the city of Chattanooga and the county also contribute substantial amounts. And then the Women of Distinction every year is benefiting their event benefits, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and the Bobby Stone Foundation. Here are the people who do our funding. And they really cover the costs, and then private individuals can also do that. So the cost for a year is $25. Buys books, 12 books a year to be delivered to the home of the child. 125 buys a book for a child from birth to age 5. And then every dollar is matched. And we decided early on we would absorb the cost of administration. So any dollar donated goes to buy a book, doesn't go to provide the administration. And here's a great story from one of the mothers that just talks about how important it is. It's not just getting the book. It's this. When you have a 3-year-old get a book addressed to them out of their mailbox, the first thing they do is take it to their mom or their grandma or their dad or a sister and say, will you read to me? And so it's about social emotional support. It's about bonding between family members. And it also is a step towards early literacy. We know that children who have more books in their home go further in education. When surveys have been done, 90% of parents report that the Imagination Library better prepared their child for kindergarten. And one of the exciting things is when a child goes to kindergarten, and in our community, we've got 14,000 kids that will eventually go to kindergarten, 4,000 or so every year. They have read the same library that their friends have read. And kindergarten teachers talk about how important it is when they pull out a book. The first book is always The Little Engine That Could, because that was Dolly's favorite. And when they pull that out in kindergarten, all the kids have it in their home. So there's this reinforcement of the importance of reading, the importance of learning. And I just can't thank HARDA enough for taking this step with us. We want everybody to enroll their children. And it's just really exciting to be the first in the nation to have this kind of support. So Dolly Parton's on the bus. We're hoping that we see lots more registrations, but thank you so very much. And thanks for all the work you do in the community. And we're pleased to be partners with you. Charles has been a great support to all of the services we provide for folks with disabilities.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you for all that you do at Sigma Centers and as well as the Imagination Library. Definitely passionate about that and really appreciate the partnership.
Thank you so much. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer.
I'll just reiterate how awesome this program is. My kids have all aged out, but they all got their books. So, if you ever want to see a kid excited about the United States Postal Service, run it out to the mailbox. But
Yeah, that's right.
it is, and again, what you mentioned about that kind of social connection as they go into school, and you already have that built-in connection with your friends. Oh, I've read that too, or that's my favorite. That's so important. When you're entering kindergarten, and stepping away from your home, to have that connection and to be able to start interacting with it, it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, we're delighted. We're honored to be the partner and this has been a really, sometimes when you take on a program, you're not quite sure what, I knew immediately this was gonna be a winner. And that we were gonna have to work hard to make sure everybody gets enrolled. So I would ask, I guess the last thing I'd have a request, if you know a child under the age of 5, but get them enrolled. We want everybody in Hamilton County to be enrolled. We want every child to have these books, because it's just gonna make us all stronger.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
I've got one note for the board as well. So just the power of this wrapped bus, it'll be on all of our routes, serving this community. And what that will create are impressions of Dolly and the QR code for people to easily understand what it is. Not only that, though, there's more coming. We will be installing the first mobile library on this bus that will actually give kids the opportunity to take a book and leave a book. So there's more coming. You'll see the bus out and about doing its regular work, but then also we'll be bringing it out for special occasions throughout the year. Thank you very much for being here today, and thank you for that partnership.
Thank you.
Also, this is a fantastic initiative, and certainly also for a cause that I think we need to get behind even more enthusiastically in terms of promoting awareness. For the benefit of knowledge of the board, our CEO threatened me with a slow and painful death if I were to leak any images in advance of the officially planned timing. So be cautious, do not challenge our CEO. But my question is, what are we going to do in terms of leveraging social media perhaps to publicize this further?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So two things. I want to just make sure that everybody heard. The chairman obviously is not here today, and so I shared with him in secret, top secret, pictures of the bus, since he's not going to be able to join us outside, and that's what he was referring to. I said, please don't share this with anybody. But we have a great new team in our comms area, marketing and outreach, and so I think I've already introduced Brandon and Savannah previously, but they will be rolling out a robust marketing strategy. In fact, we're excited today. We'll go out and we'll invite Hannah to come out and take some pictures with us. And I don't know if Time 3 presence here, but anyway, tomorrow we will be spending some time with the Dolly bus. It'll be making its grand opening tomorrow morning. Our comms team will be there, and the kids will actually be at Signal Center getting on the bus and spending time. So our what do you call it? Maiden voyage will be tomorrow morning, and then the bus will go to work on the streets of this community. Great.
Quick question. So the QR code that's on the back, that's for this program?
Yes.
Yes.
The registration page.
That's the same QR code that's on the bus.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. We'll show it to you. Right.
We look forward to going down and seeing the bus and grabbing pictures. Does the board have any comments before we adjourn? With that, again, I want to thank Charles and thank the staff again for all your help and all that you do for our community. And everybody have a great week. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.